This presentation on nonprofit advocacy, how to develop strong messaging that reaches your audience, is brought to you by IPM Advancements. The potential to double response rates when connecting a fundraising ask with a nonprofit advocacy initiative are well documented. In fact, a recent study found donors are 7 times more likely to give when the ask is coupled with an organization's advocacy messaging. This remarkable increase in the probability of a donation is encouraging, but the competition for donor dollars is still very stiff. As a result, nonprofit advocacy must pay special attention to messaging. In particular, you need to differentiate your organization from the others. You can't assume your target audience knows everything about your nonprofit organization and its activities. Your constituents will often rely on a few communications when deciding on contributions. Multiple messages. So what's the problem with nonprofit advocacy and current messaging strategies? Many solicitations include multiple messages. A wide range of statements become problematic when they don't relate back to the organization's mission statement. They can become confusing to the donors and, in a worst-case scenario, decrease donations. Therefore, it's critical all nonprofit advocacy messaging ties back to the organization's mission statement. By doing so, you ensure consistency in your messaging. Misaligned organizational messaging. Another disconnect often occurs in messages from within the same nonprofit advocacy but to different audiences. For example, different people within the organization may create different messages to prospects, donors, and to the public. The result? A misalignment in organizational messaging. Having different messaging can cause major issues for nonprofit advocacy. As stated previously, messages must be consistent and aligned around one central principle, the organization's mission statement. That doesn't mean the message needs to be identical, but it needs to be consistent. The nonprofit must present itself using a unified front. Regulating stakeholder messaging. Nonprofits have multiple stakeholders who deliver messages on their behalf. Unlike printed material, it's more difficult to control the messaging of various stakeholders such as board members, employees, volunteers, and others. Although you may not be able to control every message delivered by your stakeholders, you can work with them to improve message consistency. Through education, you can show the important role everyone plays in fundraising and nonprofit advocacy. You can also illustrate the negative impact improper messaging can have on donations. Using new messaging channels. Today's donors get their information from a variety of sources, including social media and mobile marketing. Therefore, it's important to add these channels to your communication mix. If you only use traditional channels to deliver your message, you could be missing out on reaching a significant portion of your target audience. As with all communication efforts, you want to know your audience and reach them through the vehicles they use. At IPM Advancement, we understand nonprofit advocacy and fundraising are simply different ways of mobilizing constituents to fight for your cause. Using multi-channel internet, phone, and mail strategies, we expertly align your mission with constituents who want to support your cause. In today's economic climate, we know nonprofit advocacy strategies need to yield solid results. That's why we always use best practices to make sure you get the highest response rate from your advocacy appeals. About the author. Edward Phillips, MBA, is Chief Creative Officer of IPM Advancement, a leading nonprofit fundraising company. Visit us at www.ipmadvancement.com or call 623-687-3908 for more information about nonprofit advocacy.